we've got something completely different than PC peripherals, and that is the autonomous ErgoChair 2, which they did send me over at my request. I've actually been looking for a more comfortable, more ergonomic chair for my small stature and my height, and this has been the closest that I've ever been to getting something that's even remotely comfortable and fitting for someone of my size. Before we get on to this review, I want to point out that I'm 5'1" and I range from 115 to 120 pounds depending on the day and the time of the year and all that fancy stuff. I have a fairly long torso in comparison to my legs, and my femurs are pretty short. A lot of what I'm going to say about this chair pertains to my body and its measurements and how it feels with the chair. Of course, this chair was made for someone who's fairly larger than me, maybe even twice as heavy as myself, you know, a lot taller, a lot wider, but it's pretty dang comfortable from what I've seen. I'm coming from a Cediz T50, which I bought on Amazon earlier this summer, and it was about $350, so about sort of the same price as the ErgoChair 2. And I've got to say, it doesn't fit me anywhere near as well as the ErgoChair 2 does, and we'll talk about some of those things later on too. But anyways, let's just go into assembly and all that. So the chair is pretty easy to build. It took about 20 minutes. Everything came in the box. The manual makes it extremely easy to follow directions. Alongside that, you get this like hex screwdriver that makes things really easy. You don't need to have any tools of your own. You don't need your own toolbox or your power drill, anything like that. Everything's there. Alongside that, they also give you some extra bolts and washers and nuts in case you accidentally lose one or strips one of the screws or something like that. So everything comes inside the box. Now we have a ton of boxes that need to be thrown in recycling, so that can be a little bit of an issue. But build was really easy, no problems. The headrest is slightly off center, which bothers me a little bit just because, you know, I rest my head on it a lot and I didn't have a headrest before. The headrest makes a ton of difference. I absolutely love it. So yeah, build was super easy, but I guess the most important part is, of course, fit, adjustability, and comfort. All right, so as far as adjustability goes, there are a lot of things that you can change. I'm gonna start at the top and move all the way to the bottom. So the headrest, of course, you can tilt it back up to 45 degrees and tilt it forward. You can move it up and down as well, and I measured it, and I believe you can move it about 2.5 inches up. And for me, I use it on the lowest height, tilted all the way to the bottom, and that's the most comfortable for me. Had my torso been a little bit shorter, I wouldn't even have been able to use the headrest at a comfortable position at all. The back height of the chair from the hip to your shoulder is about 22 inches, and then the headrest height is about 6 inches. And of course, I'll be showing you all the measurements right now as they show it on their website. The armrests are actually the most annoying part of this chair, actually. They don't go low enough for me to slide and tuck myself under the table. They go really high, but if I put it higher than the table, then I feel like I'm all cramped up in its space, and it's like this little mini prison chair. But I think after I finish this review, I'm just gonna take off the armrest and be like, nah, I don't need you guys anymore. It's not like I'm using them anyways, and they're preventing me from tucking in, which I really like doing, and using the table to rest my arms instead of the armrest. If I use the armrest where they are, then my hands wouldn't go far enough or to use my mouse and keyboard, and it just doesn't make sense to keep them around. They are adjustable, so you can click the side to move up and you can click it to go down. They also slide forward and back and tilt out and in just a teeny tiny bit. The worst part is when they slide forward and back, there's no locking mechanism, so if you bump into something, they'll just slide back into place. The angle tilting also doesn't stay in place either. The only thing that locks is the height. But because of the height, I can't really use the chair for what I want to, so these arms are going away. There's a lot of good things to armrests, of course, but for me, they take away from being able to even achieve a comfortable position, and that's why I'm choosing to not use them. Another thing that's really great for me personally is the seat depth adjustment. And what that is the bottom portion, you can move it out or you can move it back in so that way your femurs get to be comfortable. Usually seats for me, they're so large and so far out that they're digging into the top of my calf, or they're just not letting me even bend my knees to about 90 degrees, and it just looks like I'm a little toddler sitting in them. But this one, I can adjust the seat depth and push it all the way in so that the cushion doesn't meet my calf, and so my legs actually bend in a normal angle to maintain a comfortable position while sitting. Although I do use the absolute smallest position, so had I been smaller, you know, this probably wouldn't be working out for me. So seat depth is a huge bonus for me personally. Other things we can change are the seat height, and you know, that's just the cylinder going up and down. It's pretty normal. You just pull it up, pull up the chair or pull it down. I use somewhere in between, so I'm not all the way low, but I'm not all the way really high too. According to their website, the seat can go from 18 inches to 20 inches, so not like a ton of movement there, and it really will depend on how high your desk is too. I do recommend getting an adjustable height desk to pair with your ergonomic chair, just so that you can work them together to get the best position for you. And then one thing that I personally love using is a footrest. This thing is a game changer. I bought a footrest maybe 3 weeks ago, and it's been wonderful. It's super cheap. It's like 20 bucks. I guess if you can use like a squatty potty if you want, but you know, just get a footrest. It changes the game. It's really great. If you're someone like me who's, you know, a little bit on the shorter side and your feet never ever touch the floor, you need a footrest. Now get a footrest. Okay, other things that can change are the back recline. So you can lock that in place, or you can let it move when you lean back and lean forward. Personally, I've done both. I let it recline, but also I turn up the stiffness of the recline so high that I would need to actively push to lean back. You can also change the back tilt tension, which is done by that rolling knob on the right side. You roll it forward, it'll increase the tension. If you roll it backwards, it'll decrease the tension. I tend to put the tension pretty high, and then I turn the back tilt lock off. So if I want to tilt, I can, but if I don't want to, then it won't. It's pretty comfortable either way though. And then another thing is the tilt angle. So that's like the seat tilt, not the back tilt. I just set it at like pretty parallel to the floor. It's just not my thing to change, and that's just going to depend on your hips and how they work with everything. I tend to keep mine pretty parallel. I'm just used to that. It's just what I like personally. All right, so the seat base is actually really wide with a diameter of 29 inches. I can support a fairly large person, but I don't need that. So I find it sort of a hindrance, because when I'm trying to tuck under my table, the base will hit my footrest, which will push my footrest back, and it needs all kinds of adjustment to get in a really comfortable position. It's a wide base, but I see why they do it. They need to support a wide variety of different frames and figures and weights, so it makes sense. Also, the bottom cushion is made out of cushion, so if you are more heavy set, then there's a high likelihood that over time the cushion will deflate, and perhaps you'll even bottom out on the cushion and be uncomfortable in that way. However, with my weight and my stature, it's very unlikely that I'm ever going to achieve that. It's just something to keep in mind depending on your shape and size. Some things that don't affect me personally might affect you in a different kind of way. Another thing about the armrests that I really dislike is that they're so wide that even like just resting naturally, my elbows don't even touch them. They're like right outside my elbow on the side, and it's just really awkward. They don't really tilt in enough for my elbows to even touch them. For all those reasons, I will absolutely be removing them after this review. But with that aside, everything else about the chair I really like. It's got a mesh back. It's got a nice lumbar support that you can move up and down to meet where your lumbar is at. I'm somewhere on the lower end, but you can move it up more if you are taller. The headrest is really nice. I didn't have a headrest before, and I really felt a lot of that tension in my upper traps and my shoulders and my upper back and all of that. And now it's just a little more relaxed. The footrest has definitely changed the game. The headrest, the seat depth adjustment is great. I'm not a big tilt person. I had that opportunity before. I just don't really tilt because my feet don't touch the ground often, and I'm usually focused on a computer anyway, so it's not like I'm relaxing in my chair very often watching shows or stuff like that. But it is a very, very, very adjustable chair. If you do want to check them out, it's in the link down below if you want to do that. Mine is red apple, and you know, I thought it'd be more bright, a brighter color, but it's quite dark. So maybe it's like a red delicious apple and not like one of those really bright, vibrant kind of reds. They do have other colors on their website as well. The gray is nice. It's a little bit dark for my liking, but you know what? It looks fairly good. And it's a pretty neutral color that it won't stand out too much. I have been using this chair exclusively for the past 2 to 3 weeks now, and I've had no issues other than the armrest issue. It's a really big one. I keep complaining about it. It's just going away. It's just going away. But overall, this has been the most comfortable chair that I've tried so far for me personally, and it's just hard. It's hard being on the really small end of sizes. Jake's on the really high end of sizes, and we just have a lot of trouble finding products that are designed in a way that they can even adjust to the lower heights or adjust to the really higher heights and statures. So we struggle. We're not in the average society where products are sort of designed for, so it is a struggle. I don't know if you'll be facing the problems that I face, but this chair in a way meets about 80% of the things that I would look for in a chair, and it does that very well. The other 20% would be the armrest and how lacking that is. Maybe if it had a little bit more adjustment and movement in the headrest. Maybe if the back height was a little bit shorter. You know, like that's the other 20%, and it's okay if I can't achieve that. I really wish I could achieve like a chair that's 100% adjustable for me, but you know, this is the farthest that I've ever gotten, and I appreciate that. I think this chair is well worth its money. It's the same price as my previous chair, yet it does so much more, and it's so much more adjustable to a point where I can get comfortable. But anyways, that's it for the review. If you want to check out the chair, you can do it with the link down below if you want to. And if not, that's okay too. That's okay too. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!